Sarah logged into her Etsy shop Monday morning to find something impossible. Overnight, while she slept, her AI assistant had generated, optimized, and listed 47 new product designs. By Tuesday, 3 were bestsellers. By Friday, she'd made more money than her previous best month. The twist: Sarah isn't a designer. She's a kindergarten teacher who learned one simple AI workflow. Right now, while you're watching this, thousands of ordinary people are using AI tools to create extraordinary income streams. They're not tech geniuses. They're not Silicon Valley insiders. They're people who discovered what Dr. Kaya Nexus calls the great amplification. The moment when human creativity meets artificial intelligence and something magical happens. Your neighbor might be one of them. Your coworker could be quietly building wealth while you scroll social media. The question isn't whether AI will change everything about making money. It already has. The question is whether you'll be on the inside of that change, or watching from the outside. Most people think about AI tools completely wrong. They imagine robots taking jobs, algorithms replacing humans, some dystopian future where machines do everything. But here's what they're missing. AI isn't replacing human value. It's amplifying it exponentially. Dr. Kaya Nexus showed me data that made my head spin. People using AI tools aren't becoming obsolete. They're becoming unstoppable. Think about it this way. A graphic designer without AI might create 5 logos in a day. That same designer with the right AI tools, they're generating 50 concepts, refining them instantly, and delivering work that would have taken weeks. But here's the critical part. The AI isn't doing the creative thinking. It's doing the heavy lifting so the human can do what humans do best. Make decisions, add emotional intelligence, understand what clients really want. Marcus Chen discovered this accidentally. He was struggling with his freelance writing business, barely making rent, when he started experimenting with AI writing assistants. Not to replace his writing, but to help him research faster, generate more ideas, polish his drafts. Within 6 months, he went from 3 clients to 30. The AI didn't make him obsolete. It made him superhuman. The real truth about AI tools for money? They're not about the technology. They're about leverage. Smart people aren't waiting for perfect AI or trying to understand every algorithm. They're identifying where AI can amplify their existing skills right now, today, this moment. Let me show you what's actually happening. Jennifer runs a small marketing agency. She discovered AI tools that can analyze competitor strategies, generate campaign variations, and create months of content in hours. Her team of 3 now delivers results that used to require teams of 20. Her clients don't care about the AI. They care about the results. Her revenue tripled because she's solving bigger problems faster. David started using AI for stock analysis and options trading, not to make decisions for him, but to process massive amounts of data, identify patterns, and test strategies at superhuman speed. The AI handles the number crunching. David handles the judgment calls. Last quarter, he beat the market by 18%. Maria discovered AI tools for e-commerce that analyze trending products, optimize listings, and even handle customer service. She went from selling handmade jewelry on weekends to running a 6-figure online business. The AI didn't replace her eye for design or her understanding of what customers want. It freed her from the tedious stuff so she could focus on what only humans can do: create, connect, and innovate. Marcus Chen's awakening wasn't about becoming an AI expert. It was about becoming an AI user. There's a massive difference. Experts understand how the technology works. Users understand how to make it work for them. And right now, the users are getting rich while the skeptics are still debating whether this is real. Here's what the prepared are doing while others are waiting. First, they're identifying their highest value activities, the things only they can do, the decisions only they can make. Then they're finding AI tools to handle everything else: research, analysis, first drafts, data processing, routine optimization. The AI becomes their research assistant, their idea generator, their productivity multiplier. They're not trying to learn everything about AI. They're learning specific tools that amplify their specific skills. If you're a marketer, you're mastering AI for content and campaigns. If you're an entrepreneur, you're using AI for market research and business planning. If you're a creative, you're leveraging AI for concept generation and rapid iteration. The smartest people I know have stopped asking whether AI will change their industry. They're asking how they can use AI to dominate their industry. They're spending less time consuming content about AI and more time actually using AI tools. They're treating this like the internet in 1995, not something to fear or fully understand, but something to explore and exploit. What separates the winners from the waiters? Speed of implementation. While most people are still forming opinions about AI, the prepared are forming income streams with AI. They're not waiting for permission or perfect understanding. They're experimenting, failing fast, iterating quickly. The beautiful truth about this moment? We're still in the early days. The AI tools available today will look primitive compared to what's coming, but the people learning to amplify themselves with AI right now, they're building the skills and mindset that will serve them for decades. They're developing what Dr. Kaya Nexus calls AI fluency, not technical expertise, but practical mastery. This isn't about humans versus machines. It's about augmented humans versus regular humans. And in that competition, there's only one rational choice. The question isn't whether you'll eventually use AI tools to amplify your capabilities. The question is whether you'll start before or after your competition does. You're not behind, but after the next video, you will be if you wait.